Hey everyone, so I recently watched Blue Beetle. Most people said that they went into this with really low expectations, but I was actually the opposite. I quite liked the trailers, if I'm honest. I thought they were fun. It reminded me of Spider-Man Homecoming. It has that classic teenage superhero charm, but unfortunately it doesn't hit the highs of Spider-Man Homecoming. Blue Beetle is an annoying film because I think it got the core, most important part of the film right, but everything else is mediocre at best. The part they got right was Blue Beetle himself, Jaime Reyes. Xolo Maridueña was perfectly cast and gives a charismatic performance while also nailing the emotional beats. Characters and performances like this really lend themselves to the superhero genre as it gives the film a sense of whimsy and wonder. This is partly why Spider-Man works and why Tom Holland works in that role. The Blue Beetle suit looks great. One of the reasons for this is the fact that it's a practical suit with only a few CGI touch-ups. That's how CGI should be used. It should be used to make existing shots and practical elements look more realistic, rather than to be used whenever and wherever. If something can be done practically, then it should be. This is a big problem with recent superhero films. Things like helmets and even entire suits are made only using CGI. So it's great to see a practical superhero suit be used here. I didn't love the robot mecha suit worn by Carapax though, the bad guy. I thought it looked clunky and uninteresting, something you would find on a CW superhero show. Having a blue suit fight a red suit, which are quite similar in many aspects, is just boring. It leads to some boring visuals and an unmemorable villain. I'll come back to the villain in a second, just because I would like to sing the praises of this film first. I did like the family dynamic shown. George Lopez as Jaime's uncle was a standout, even if some of his lines weren't great, like the "Batman's a fascist" line. I liked the focus on family, even if it is a bit cliche, especially with the death of a family member. The action scenes for the most part are good. Editing could have been a bit better, but I liked the choreography. I do prefer when Blue Beetle is the focus though. I find it endearing when the hero can overcome what seems like an impossible situation on their own, kind of like Spider-Man Homecoming. But here we get the whole family, friends, and a massive motorized beetle. I know what they were going for, it's campy, pulpy fun, but I would have preferred Jaime to win the fight at the end of the day by himself. I get that the family is a big focus for this movie, but I think it would have worked better if the roles were reversed. If Jaime was going in there to save his family instead of the family trying to save him. I think it would have worked better for his character arc and for the film as a whole, as we would have gotten more fight scenes with Blue Beetle himself rather than the rest of the family. Anyway, the finale was mixed for me, as we got probably the best action scene with Jaime in the tunnel, but also got a quite underwhelming mecha suit fight that is riddled with cliches, where the bad guy gets a change of heart because the power of family and love is too powerful. Speaking of the bad guy, there's two. Susan Sarandon's character and Carapax, the man in the mecha suit. Both are extremely typical villains you would find in any other piece of superhero media. The business bad guy along with the big strong second in command. They're both poorly written, and the actors try to do something with it, but ultimately they're given nothing, so the performances feel empty. Carapax had more depth and intrigue as a villain, but only because they did the bare minimum. For a movie to be great, they have to do more than this. Most of this film feels like you've seen it before, simply because it plays out the same tired tropes and cliches without expanding, evolving, or executing anything particularly well. The action was actually pretty good for the most part. Obviously some scenes were better than others, but I enjoyed how they utilized Blue Beetle and his powers. The cinematography was alright, chaotic at times, bright neon color which fills the screen. It's messy though and inconsistent. The finale had the opposite problem where there wasn't really enough color. There wasn't really enough light. It was in the dark and you couldn't see much, other than the neon glow of both of the characters' suits. It is also a colourful film in terms of tone, which is a good thing. I do have a problem with the oversaturation of jokes in modern superhero films, but with a tone like this and for what it was going for, it's okay. Some jokes work while some don't. It's mostly what you expect. It's actually quite a hard film to talk about, because most of it is just so average and honestly, it's bland. Other than Jaime and the family dynamic, like I said in the beginning, that's the core of the film and it is what works. That's why I would love for Blue Beetle to be a mainstay in James Gunn's DCU. With a better script, solid story, and maybe even a different director, we could get something really special. I would love to see someone like Edgar Wright tackling Blue Beetle. He was set to direct Ant-Man and wrote a script for it, but ending up leaving the project due to creative differences. That's one thing the Ant-Man movies need as well, better writing and a director who can bring it to life in a stylish and creative way. There's just nothing special about it, and that's annoying because I really wanted to like this a lot. I wanted this to be great. Overall, Blue Beetle is more or less what you'd expect. A good lead performance with a suit that looks amazing, and action that was handled well for the most part. But unfortunately, that can't save it from the poor writing, lazy plot, and cliche villains and story beats. I would like to see more from this character though, because that's what this film got right. For my score, I'm going with a 3 out of 5.